More breaking news in a CBS Sports HQ where Byron Murphy is staying put in Minnesota. Star cornerback signing a 3-year, $66 million contract to remain with the Vikings. Murphy had 6 interceptions and 6 tackles for a loss, made his first Pro Bowl in 2024. As it goes by AAV, Murphy now one of the highest paid in the game, situating between Patrick Surtain and Jair Alexander, $22 million per. But interesting, the terms here, only 3 years worth of security, with Murphy staying put in the land of 10,000 takes. Emory Hunt, Bryant, McFadden back in the mix here to discuss. And fellas, what my mind immediately goes to here, we live in a quarterback world, and the importance of can always point to something else. Mac, talk to me about the importance of this sort of talent on the defensive side of the ball if you are going to go through some of those growing pains with a young quarterback.
Well, it's important to have guys that can cover in the back end, especially under a Brian Flores-led defense where he oftentimes sends extra pressure. So that puts those guys in the back end in man-to-man situations. And Byron Murphy a year ago for the Vikings had a career-like year. 6 interceptions, 14 PBUs, also 81 tackles. Remember, they moved him inside in their sub packages, nickel and dime, where he was commanding the slots. And he did a phenomenal job, not just in coverage, but also tackling. As I mentioned, when you're in man-to-man situations, when you're sending extra blitzers in the blitz concepts, you're going to be out there on the island, not just covering, but also making the big, much-needed tackle. So that's what we saw from Byron Murphy last season. This was a huge, much-needed signing because you don't know the exact future when you look at Shaq Griffin and Stephon Gilmore, the other 2 corners that started opposite of Byron Murphy in terms of their sub packages. So great job by Minnesota being able to shore up their best cover corner from a year ago.
And you lose Cameron Bynum to the free agency, so you lose another key piece in your secondary. But I like this move as well. I thought he was one of my favorite corners coming out of his draft class. I felt like Arizona got off of him too quickly. He had his best year in Arizona in 2021. He had 4 interceptions, 12 PBUs, and you look at the last 2 seasons in Minnesota, 27 PBUs, 9 picks, 2 forced fumbles. So to B-Mac's point, the tackling, being around the football, making plays in man coverage. When you go man and you're blitzing, I trust my guys to make a tackle one-on-one in space. I trust my guys to make the plays that are there to be made in terms of turning the ball over, and that's what Murphy does. And to me, keeping him in tow is huge for the secondary because you can't get enough corners, especially with these teams that roll out these 3 wide receiver sets with 3 number 1s at those positions.
Yeah, and to B-Mac's point, that B-flow scheme, bringing it from all different places, when you can just count on one side of the field, cut that thing in half, it allows you some autonomy in what you can do as a defensive coordinator. I also go to the terms here. 3 for 66, 22 per. You're never going to argue with that for a star cornerback, but the 3 is where my eyes go. You look at some of the other big cornerback deals that have come down. Pat Surtain, he's on a 4-year deal, bigger money as well. The 4th year, do you think that was a sticking point one way or the other, Emory? Or are you surprised that there isn't a 4th year on this deal?
I'm surprised there isn't a 4th year, but I think that was part of the negotiation. Hey, I would go and leave and get 4 years from somewhere else. Some of these other cornerback-needed teams, but the Vikings probably threw some extra incentives in there to keep him in tow for those 3 seasons. So, yes, I agree. This is a 4-year type of a prospect, a player. It'll be fascinating to hear what the real details are, the meat and potatoes of the contract once we hear what it becomes official on Wednesday.
Hey, 1 less year just means a sooner bite at the apple. Keep on balling, and you'll find yourself setting that market once again. Bryant, McFadden, Emory Hunt, thank you once again. All right, a look here at your highest paid cornerbacks on average annual value. J.C. Horn got his deal done earlier in the day to stay put there in Carolina. Now the pace car at $25 million per. Jalen Ramsey still situating 2nd, just north of $24 million, as does Surtain. Again, 4 years on Surtain's deal, the star corner there in Denver. But Byron Murphy, now capital P paid in Minnesota.